Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Sarita. Really happy to be with you today. I have a special fall preview from Bath & Body Works. So their first wave of fall candles was in late June, and they have a second wave, which is coming in August. And I was able to see those candles because Bath & Body Works sometimes offers previews in their test stores. So if you're not familiar with test stores, Bath & Body Works has a handful of them. And by handful, I mean like you can count them on one hand. There is one test store in Columbus, Ohio, and then the rest of them are in Atlanta, Georgia. There may be one also in Nashville, Tennessee, but it doesn't test, whatever that other one is, it doesn't test candles. So the candle test stores, one in Columbus and then the rest in Atlanta, Georgia. In those test stores, Bath & Body Works offers either previews of upcoming candles or I guess, they may offer candles that may or may not see the light of day in regular Bath & Body Works stores. So they are true test candles that the company wants to get some feedback about from actual purchasing candles or purchasing customers is what I meant. Or shopping customers. How do they smell? How are they received? Once bought, what did people think of them? And then the data or the information from that will then go back to the company and they'll decide whether or not those candles are gonna go nationwide. So, one of these stores is in Columbus. I was born and raised in Columbus, and over July 4th, I went back to visit some family. My little sister actually lives in New Albany, Ohio, which is the suburb in which Bath & Body Works headquarters are actually located. And I was able to go to the test store and see the upcoming August release. So I bought 2 candles from that upcoming release. There are only a select few from that release that are truly new fragrances. Most of them are just re-releases of old fall classics, just in kind of cool new packaging. But there are a couple that are new. And so I am going to give you a couple videos, and in those videos, I'm going to kind of give you a preview for the packaging and a couple of the new fragrances. So this video is devoted to what I'm calling the Woodgrain collection, which is a wood grain aesthetic. I've got one of the candles here, and this is what it looks like. How gorgeous is that? Cozy Sunday night. Guys, my camera's working too. So this is, as you can tell, a textured wood grain kind of aesthetic, and it's got a metallic sheen to it. There are 5 candles in this particular mini collection. This, to my knowledge, is the only one of the 5 that is a new fragrance. We're gonna get to it in a second, but let me talk about the other 4 that you're probably already familiar with. And since I took pictures in the store, I will use my fancy editing software and show you pictures as I talk. So the other candles that are in this collection, first one is Sunrise Woods. Here's Sunrise Woods. Sunrise Woods is this beautiful like cranberry burgundy kind of color. And of course it's got that metallic sheen too. So Sunrise Woods, to my knowledge, this will be the 2nd year for Sunrise Woods. It came out last year in that kind of weird copper lid collection that had the pumpkin bonfire in it. So Sunrise Woods is at least 1 year old, and it was originally, and it is originally, a body care fragrance. And you can definitely tell that when you smell this candle. It was just body care through and through. So the notes on it are creamy sandalwood, sweet berries, and cozy cashmere. And I thought that the top or the most pronounced notes of that was a wood kind of smell. And it is a cedar wood, but I would say it's a strong wood. It almost goes a little mahogany in that it's a real strong wood smell, but it also stays on this side of like feminine as opposed to masculine. It also has some sweetness. I would almost think it's like a fruity sweetness. although they want you to think it's berries, it almost smelled a little vaguely apple to me. But mostly wood, and then it's got that like cashmere creaminess to it. I think that the sandalwood is a little more pronounced than the cashmere. Anyway, when you smell it, it's just very generic and classic Bath and Body Works body care. I almost got it, but I kind of held off. We'll see if I get that one. It reminded me a lot of Coffee and Whiskey, which came out last year for the first time and is now a big body care push for them. I actually took a picture of both of them together. Here it is. These two are super similar. And when I smelled them in conjunction with each other, they both have like this sandalwood, amber, body care kind of thing going on. But when I smelled them in conjunction with each other, I do think Sunrise Woods is a bit more body care than the Coffee and Whiskey. And also when I smelled them together, the Coffee and Whiskey one, I think I like it a little bit better. It had a little bit more mystique to it than the Sunrise Woods, which was a little bit generic. And weirdly, I know I've said that you can't smell any Coffee and Whiskey in that Coffee and Whiskey candle, but weirdly, when I smelled it in conjunction with Sunrise Woods, I'm like, is that coffee that I'm smelling? I don't know. Maybe it was just my mind playing tricks, but it was a lot creamier than Sunrise Woods, and I almost got a little bit of coffee in it. It was something. So they're very similar, but for me, I kind of like Coffee and Whiskey better. Okay, close parentheses. Another one in that collection, which should be very familiar to you, is Autumn. Here's a picture of Autumn. Autumn is this lighter hunter, almost pea green kind of color, again with the metallic sheen, a very yellow forward green, if you will. And I think that a lot of people are very familiar with Autumn, so I'm not going to dwell. I don't know that it's my fragrance, but it's one of those like classic Bath and Body Works fall fragrances. The notes on that one are Gala Apple, Juicy Fig, and Eucalyptus. So that's also in this collection. Then we also have another re-release, which is Walk in the Woods. And Walk in the Woods is this very dark forest green, which is really appropriate because the notes on this one are forest, cedarwood, crisp patchouli, and dark peppercorns. Although probably that red burgundy would be a good one for this too. At any rate, I did not get Walk in the Woods either because it just smells like a men's cologne to me. It's not a bad men's cologne, but it's just kind of a men's cologne. For me, it wasn't quite fall enough for me to either consider purchasing it or, you know, whatever, for now or even later. But Walk in the Woods in this collection as well. Then our fourth fragrance, which needs no introduction, is Marshmallow Fireside. Here's a picture of Marshmallow Fireside. As with the Cozy Sunday Night candle, looks the most natural of these wood colors. It's this beautiful champagne, kind of birch color, because you might actually see some wood that's this color, although this is very metallic. So Marshmallow Fireside needs no introduction, but perhaps this is a good time for me to say, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, I'm not sure that I like Marshmallow Fireside. I don't know if I do. And I knew I need to withhold judgment because I have actually never burned Marshmallow Fireside, and so I need to hold off on that. But when I smell it, it just smells super synthetic. Like the marshmallow is not very fresh or authentic, and the smoke is like a liquid smoke rather than the kind of smoke that you would get from like pumpkin bonfire, for instance. Again, like really canned smelling. So I'm not really sure as to why everybody loves the candle so much. Maybe I'm missing something. I do have to say that conceptually it's brilliant, because to be able to put like that really uber sweet, creamy vanilla like scent note and then counteract it with something smoky kind of cut the sweetness and give you the opposite genre, and to put those together, I mean, they're just made for each other, and it's brilliant. And I wonder if when Harry Slatkin originally formulated that candle, it was kind of a revelation. Like, I don't know how many other candles on the market delivered that. And so it almost maybe didn't matter what the execution was. Since then, though, there have been so many other candles from Bath & Body Works, from Homeworks, which is Harry Slatkin too, from other candle companies that take that same concept and just execute it, I think, a little bit better. And so I wonder, like I said, if it's kind of a nostalgia thing with Marshmallow Fireside. Anyway, I know I've lost a lot of you. You've like turned the video off, unsubscribed. I get it. I was watching Sean from Hearthside this week, and lately I haven't been agreeing with a lot of his takes, but he mentioned that he feels the same way about Marshmallow Fireside, which I thought was really interesting. So I don't know, maybe there's some of us out there who kind of secretly don't get it. At any rate, this is a beautiful package for Marshmallow Fireside, possibly one of the prettiest ones I've seen, and I just would love any candle in this particular format. Okay. Now we're gonna get to the pièce de résistance of this particular video, which is the 5th candle, and it is the one that I believe is a new fragrance. So once again, here's what it looks like, Cozy Sunday Night. And the minute I smelled it, I was like, ooh, I think I like it. And I am obsessed with this candle. So I've set it here on my counter and I just smell it from time to time because it's so great. If this performs, and I have not burnt it yet, if it performs well, I think this is going to be a big hit this year, and I think a lot of people are going to like it. This is a candle I would say is quote unquote almost gourmand. Almost, but not quite. And I am not a gourmand person, but the fact that it's already almost gourmand and I still love it makes me think that a lot of people are gonna love this. So the notes on Cozy Sunday Night are warm cinnamon, crystallized ginger, and vanilla bean. And I'm gonna tell you that I think actually those notes are super misleading and not representative of the candle at all. And it's, Bath & Body Works sometimes misses, especially when they're trying to evoke something like really rhetorical or conceptual or poetic rather than hewing close to the scent notes. But this one is not actually that like flowery, and I just think the notes are not quite right. So, true story, I saw the planogram on the floor set for this particular collection in the test store. And those of you who may not be familiar, a planogram is basically a picture from the corporate office of the way they want the display set up with all of the candles in a specific place, and they have them listed. And the planogram for this particular display had the candle not as Cozy Sunday Night, but actually as cinnamon and ginger. So originally the candle was supposed to be called cinnamon and ginger, and very shortly before all the candles were delivered to the test store, they changed the name to Cozy Sunday Night, which I think is so much better. Not only because I just love the conceptual name Cozy Sunday Night, and I think it fits the fragrance, but I don't think that cinnamon and ginger fits the fragrance, because while cinnamon is fairly pronounced, the ginger is not, and there's just so much more going on here. Okay, so let's talk about it. First of all, this is a bold candle on cold. Many of the other ones in this mini Woodgrain collection struck me as moderate in terms of their cold impact. This one was one of the bolder ones. So I'm really hopeful that that means it's really gonna perform well and it's gonna give good strength and throw. This is a beautiful, dry, warm, spicy fragrance. So what you get is a very strong pumpkin spice. And that is a little bit generic, a little bit craft store, but it's nice. It's not terribly synthetic smelling. It really smells kind of bakery authentic. So by pumpkin spice, I mean, and I wrote them down so that I wouldn't forget. I would say cinnamon, nutmeg, clove, allspice, ginger. And it's like a perfect mixture. If there's a standout of those particular scents or spices, it's cinnamon. And this is not red hot cinnamon. This is a true ground dried baking cinnamon. I would actually even say Ceylon cinnamon, which, if you're familiar, Ceylon cinnamon is a very special Chinese cinnamon, and it's super poignant. It's sharp. And I think it comes across as maybe a Ceylon cinnamon. It could also just be a regular cinnamon with a little bit of ginger behind it that makes it like bitey. But I wouldn't necessarily call out ginger by itself. There's not enough ginger in here to certainly call the candle cinnamon and ginger. It's a beautiful pumpkin spice, but it's spicy, super spicy. Oh, in the best possible way. And not like syrupy sweet. So this is a sweet candle, but I would say it's more of a honeyed sweetness. And I actually think there's this toasted graham note, like as in graham crackers, right? Which is, again, dry, kind of sandy. It's giving the sweetness, but it's also giving that kind of toasted, roasted dimension. And between the two of those, this candle should go just straight gourmand. But there is something underneath it that is just grounding it in a place that's not quite gourmand. And I'm tempted to say that it's wood. And I don't know if it's just the psychology of like the wood here that is making me think that. And the fact that it is this very warm cedar-like fragrance. It might be sandalwood underneath, but it's not very creamy. And I don't know if that's because of just the spiciness of it. I'm not getting a whole lot of cream. I want to say cedar. I want to say cedar or like cedar dust, but we're talking like a nuance underneath that, oh gosh, it's so good, so dry, so amazing. There are some other possibilities. So it could be musk, it could be patchouli, it could be amber, you know, it's just something a little bit dark like that. But all of those lean not dry. They're like damp, damp or like gooey or something like, and there's just nothing resinous, gooey, like earthy or yeah. It's just, it's not, it doesn't, it's so dry, like in a cozy kind of dryness that I think like cedar wood dust and graham cracker dust seems, or crumbs, seems just about right. So I would say this is a top to mid-range candle. Top notes and the most pronounced ones are that pumpkin spice, that sharp, spicy pumpkin spice. And then there's that toasted graham. And then there's something woody, a little bit woody. Oh my gosh, it glows. It feels like a cozy fall night inside by the fire. And I love it. And like I said, for this to be like a leaning gourmand candle and for me to love it, it just makes me think this is gonna be so mainline, and how gorgeous is it? It's gorgeous, right? I love it. I did do a search. I just didn't find any candles in Bath & Body Works called cinnamon and ginger, which makes me think that this is a truly new candle. But we're gonna have to hear from Kent from Candle Channel because he knows all these things and he'll check the ILN and he'll let us know if this is a repackage of something. It doesn't reinvent the wheel, okay? There's probably a lot of things in Bath & Body Works fall collection over the last 10 or 15 years that it's very similar to. So I don't want you to think that this is like so innovative, you've never smelled anything like it. But I do think that it's a little bit different from the things that I usually smell from Bath & Body Works. I do think it's new. I do think it's new, and I do love it. So look forward to this. I mean, I could be wrong on it. It may not perform, and who knows, like maybe I'm just really off and people really will not like it. I think a lot of people are gonna like it. I think you're gonna like it. So this goes for $26.95, which is pretty standard for the kind of a wraparound situation. It's got this kind of gold, brushed gold lid, looks great. Hopefully in stores in August. Look for it. And all the rest of them are beautiful too. I like this aesthetic. You know, from their like Vera Bradley flop in the first, it was only the first wave, folks. Second wave, we're getting some aesthetic here that looks great. And look for a second video for me in the next couple days because I want to talk about another mini collection, of which this is one. And these are the cheaper $24.95 ones because it doesn't have the full wraparound and it's got the clear and the colored wax. And I love this aesthetic too. 10 times better than the clip art and the Vera Bradley thing. So look for my review or my preview on that in a couple days. Thank you so much for your patience, my dear friends. I would link, but there's nothing to link yet. Look for them in August in your stores and online. I will see you in the next one.